Gotta kick off the show here.
We're agreeing.
So cleaned up.
Welcome into the MafiaCast. I'm your host, Papa Ron. It is draft day, boys. What is going on? I am so excited. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, there's something going on today, huh?
That's what I hear.
Big events kicking off.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that we're
reports,
finally here.
Per the reports and sources and rumors, there's a draft going on tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Now, will the Bills be participating in tonight? That's something we're gonna have to watch and see.
Oh, I'm
That's
really
something
gonna have
we're
to
going to talk about.
make some coffee, or I don't know. I want to take a nap, but that don't really happen when you're anxious like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what are you guys going to see? For me, the draft starts, so it's in 29 minutes. It's only 6 o'clock for me when it starts.
Right.
So it's not going to be a late night for me. What about you guys? How are you guys going to stay up that late?
I'm not really sure if I can, because my record's not the greatest. But I'm going to do my darnest. Maybe some coffee or something. Man, I just get up and walk around. If I lay down, it's over. So I just keep pacing or something.
If there's a will, there's a way, and I will do anything when it comes to the Bills and this kind of stuff. So if I have to stay up late and get up at 5 in the morning to go to work, then whatever, I'll do it.
Oh yeah, getting up's no problem.
No, it's not.
I don't want to be late to the party.
Exactly.
If I don't hear from you guys shortly after, at any point, I'll just start blowing up your phones and calling.
Please call.
Absolutely. I'll turn my ringer on after the show.
All right. So there's I was watching NFL Network, one of those top 10 things yesterday, right? And it was top 10 drafts or draft day trades. And I tweeted out about one of those today. And let me just ask you, hypothetically, if the Bills were to offer up their first, second, third round picks for a first and a third, excluding any player names or anything, is that something that you'd be like, okay with that?
A first, second, and third?
Right. Buffalo gives up a first, second, and third, and they get a first and a third back.
Are we getting the number one overall pick?
No.
You're upgrading both, obviously, right? Or at least
you're upgrading
the first one is greatly upgraded.
Well, if you're swapping picks, both of them would be upgraded. That would really depend on how high we're going.
I'm thinking who cares about the round 3 pick? You're upgrading that. This is to upgrade that first round pick, and I feel like you're chasing a guy. So I'd be okay with that.
See, I thought this was interesting, and here's why. Back in 1985, Bill Walsh did that very thing. He gave up the 49ers first, second, third round picks for the Patriots, I believe it was, first and third round picks. And with that first round pick that they got from the Patriots, they jumped one spot ahead of the Dallas Cowboys, who at that time were expected to take Jerry Rice. Instead, Bill Walsh jumped one spot ahead of him, and he grabbed him. And when I saw the compensation or the trade itself and what it entailed, I thought there's no way people would be on board with that today. People would be just nuts. And then it reminded me, go back a few years, 2014, Buffalo did something rather similar. They gave up a first round 2014 and then a first, and I want to say a fourth of 2015. And they moved up from 9th to 4th and drafted Sammy Watkins, who ironically was compared to Jerry Rice at that time. Do you remember this deal?
I do, but I didn't remember the compensation for it. I didn't remember necessarily know what we gave up to move up there. That's really weird.
Looking back, it set us back.
Yeah,
it did not work out. So
no, not one bit.
I brought that up because one of the things that we kind of hear about is What can a team do? Insert Bills, Raiders, Chiefs, whoever you want. How can X team win the day? How can they win the draft? You can't. There's just no way. Number one, there's going to be fans who are not going to be happy no matter what you do, right? Buffalo could take a corner. Some people are going to be like, okay, cool. We got the best secondary in football. Or others are going to be like, we don't need a corner. You could take a wide receiver. And then everybody's like, well, great. We don't have anybody to protect Josh Allen. There's no win or lose there, right? But on the flip side of it, you can't determine a draft and its success or lack of until you go two or three seasons down the road, right? Like with Sammy Watkins.
Right.
Zachary Jennings here says if Watkins was healthy, that's not that bad of a move, and I completely disagree. Watkins has been on how many teams now? 4,
But
5?
but hold on. I mean, to Zach's point, that first two seasons that Sammy Watkins had, he was worth the pick. At that time, he was worth it.
Until he got injured.
Yeah, and he got injured, and it all went downhill from there. I mean, we've seen that with plenty of players. I mean, between he and Carson Wentz and Teddy Bridgewater, a bunch of guys, like, they were working out. I mean, and then they just get hurt, and they just never come back the same. In my opinion, like I said, the first 2 years, yeah, he was worth it. But after that, no. I mean, hindsight, no, he's not worth the fourth overall pick.
Well, one of the things that got me thinking about all of this was there's been a lot of conversation about the Bills moving up in today's draft into the teens, maybe, or even early 20s to get somebody like a Jackson Smith and Jigba or a Bijan Robinson if he happens to fall later in the draft. I would be concerned. Like, how many Jerry Rices are there in the world in a trade like that? It just doesn't happen that often. More often than not, it's a swing and a miss. So even looking at the Sammy Watkins situation, based on if you're looking at just his first 2 seasons with the Bills, just that, let's say he's on a different team and you're Buffalo, like, we want that guy. Here's a first, and a third, and we want Sammy Watkins based on the production from his first 2 years. There's no way I'm doing that.
No,
I mean, you even look at it today with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the news with him has been crazy, all the rumors, and there's nobody willing to give up a first round for him. Yet we gave up basically a first and a third for Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, but there's no longevity there with Hopkins. I mean, if we're looking long term, that's expensive for a short while. You're getting down to it.
I mean, look what we gave up for Diggs. We gave up, what was it, a first, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth for the guy. I mean,
he was in like 25 years old too.
Yes,
and proven.
But I mean, at the time, Sammy Watkins was the bee's knees. He was everything. I was floored when we got Sammy Watkins. I mean, he was.
I don't agree.
I mean, I was younger. I was 2014.
A lot of people were really excited.
I was 18.
When the trade happened and the draft pick happened, yes, I was excited for it because of all the hype, the scouting reports, everything pointed to him being the next greatest thing in football. It didn't turn out that way, and I feel like it did set the team back because of the loss of the additional draft picks. And later on, there's another it wasn't a trade, but there was another quarterback, and we'll talk about this later, that kind of came up on Twitter earlier today, and his success or lack of with the Bills and whether, what led to his demise. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. With this draft, let me just throw this out. What do you guys feel like, what does a successful day one look like to you guys?
Ooh, Mike, go ahead.
Well, the successful day one, either you move up and you nail your pick and you get your guy, or you're like what you were just talking about, how do you win draft day? I don't know, you start trading back and you start getting quantity over quality. Well, I don't want to say over quality, but to have more probability that you're gonna get good picks that are gonna fit your team.
That someone's gonna hit eventually.
Right. So I think
and that kind of
It's I mean, it's a
interesting.
this is a defining thing, you know, whatever direction they go, it's going to define the rest of the draft. I mean, you
Mhm.
move up and you take a chance on somebody, it doesn't work out. Oh, well, you're screwed at that point. But I mean, I feel a lot better trading back. I mean, you're already this far back. Yeah, and I like the idea of getting a few picks. My latest mock, I traded back 3 times and got 2-for-1 picks each time, and I was like, wow, look at it. But
Well, we're going to talk about
more
our mock
likely
drafts. We each
right
did a new one, so
to find someone that's going to work. But I'd say, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good indicator. It's one of those two things.
For me, I guess I'll lay out 3 scenarios. It's staying pat at 27 because one of the tackles or one of the wide receivers, and by one of I mean Smith and Jigba, Addison or Johnson or Flowers falls to you, or like Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones. If one of those 2 fall, and we get one of those guys, I'm floored. I'm so happy. If not, then we start trading back. You know, I saw something on Twitter that said Bills trade 27 for 34 and Hopkins, and the Cardinals eat some of that cap. I wouldn't mind that because we trade back, we get that wide receiver that we would have taken at 27. We get, like Papa Ron said, is proven. Then we go in at 34. We take Jack Campbell, the linebacker, fill that spot, or whoever, fill another need there. And they're also cheaper than what we would have taken at 27. It may not be as much of a reach in the public's eye just to trade back into that early second round for that same player that we could have just got at 27.
right. Yeah, Mike, you brought up a point a while ago about quality versus quantity, and like in the business world, you always hear you want quantity, right? Or quality. Sorry, quality over quantity. But is it a little bit different in the NFL draft? You're looking for quality, but to find that, you've got to have. I think I got that backwards. You want quality, but you need quantity to find it. That's
Right,
a
you need
tongue
some
twister.
options. You
Yeah,
need some
like
options there.
Buffalo's going into this draft with only 6 picks, and obviously, the more it's like the lottery. The more tickets you buy, the better your chances are hitting. Right.
There you go.
Which is why, for me, I agree with what you guys are saying as far as moving back in this draft, because like Zachary here says, rounds 2 through 4, where the value is after the top 15. We've been hearing this all for the last 2 months. 15 to 18 players in this draft have first round grades. After that, it kind of drops off. And I do feel like whatever player is going to be there for us at 27, there's not a whole heck of a lot of drop off in the first part of the second round either. So I do think dropping back into the second round. So as much as I want to see, just for, being a fan, Bill take somebody today, I think the better option is to move back and we get nobody today and draft maybe a couple guys tomorrow.
And make us stay up all night.
For nothing. Stay up for nothing.
So last year, he said there was about 15 to 18 guys that were worth the first round draft pick on his board. And we saw Elam, was officially like one of those guys, but was also one of the last, if not the last guy on his first round board, which explains why he was willing to jump those 2 spots ahead of the Cowboys to take Elam. Now, would he be willing to do that again? Throw in pick number 130 or 137 to a team where he's like, all right, our last guy in the first round is here, and they're truly going BPA. Last year, it just kind of worked out that BPA was cornered, and we needed one. So is it the same thing again? All right, this is our guy. He's here 2 picks ahead of the Cowboys again, and we just hop ahead of them to make sure we're going to get our guy, or do we just stay
You said hop. It fits. Trade back, use extra picks to get D-hop. Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot as well. And I think that would definitely be a huge W. I think that's the one thing that if it happened today or tonight, I can't imagine too many Bills Mafia would be too upset about acquiring DeAndre Hopkins. I know there's going to be some because I've already seen them on Twitter talking about he's washed, he's old, he's this, he's that, he's not worth it, whatever. But
Maybe
I
that's
don't
the
think
other
he's
way.
washed.
That might be the other way you win draft day.
Yeah. So with the draft, there's some news that we kind of want to talk about as far as the NFL. But before we get in there, because the draft is starting in 15 minutes, so I do want to get our mock drafts out here and kind of talk about these a little bit before the draft actually starts. And because Casey seems so excited about that just now, we're going to
No,
start with
I am
you.
not going first. I cannot make this decision.
Okay,
We can give him time.
we're gonna put Casey on the clock here. You've got 10 minutes, actually less than that. You've
Deal.
got like 10 seconds. But Mike, who did you take first?
Who did I take first?
Well, what did you do with the first pick? Let's start with that. Did you select somebody or did you trade it?
in the mock draft that I chose as my favorite for this? I had no trades, and I picked a guy that is probably very commonly picked in my mocks this far. As long as we've been talking about it, and that's Anton Harrison.
Oh, nice.
Going with the
Okay.
tackle. Going with the tackle. Yeah, it's interesting. You guys know I've been harping on offensive line for the last 2 months. My first pick, though, is not an offensive lineman. The more I read about stuff, the more I do the scouting reports, the more I listen to other analysts and all of that. I'm convinced, number one, well, I won't say convinced, but I'm confident that Spencer Brown is going to be just fine at right tackle. I don't necessarily think that spending a first-round pick on another tackle is the best use of our first pick. So I elected to trade back on mine, and by doing so, I acquired the 36th and 77th pick in the draft, acquiring those from the Rams, who now have the 27th pick. So before we get to the second round, Casey, what did you do in round one?
So at pick 27, I traded back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I got picks 32, 80, and 251. And I took Maisie Smith out of Michigan, the monstrous defensive lineman.
Really?
I thought he was great. I thought he was great value. Some of the Osiris was there. I thought about taking him, but I'm very confident in McGovern and Bates. I don't know why in McGovern, but Bates, I just know what I saw 2 years ago to finish out the season. And last year was, I understand, a struggle for him. He wasn't in his natural position at left guard. I think he's going to end up playing really well this year as long as they do move him back and McGovern to right guard. So I think, and with you, I think Spencer Brown, this is his third year. This should be this is his telling year, basically. So yeah. I'm willing to give him that right off the bat anyway. But I mean, we'll see what the draft brings.
Right. Well, and this draft is pretty deep in offensive line talent. So
absolutely.
If you don't get one now in the first round, you can grab one later on if you want and still have some competition for Spencer Brown and some, build in some depth on the offensive line for the Bills this coming season. All right, round two. Mike.
No, make Casey go first. Or no. It's not as fun this time. Not as much pressure, right?
No.
Round two. Right. This will be no surprise to you guys.
Trenton Simpson.
Yeah, I've been talking about it forever, and there's even times where I traded back and had him as my first pick, a while back. But this is the draft I chose, and I got a lot of quite a few players that I've been thinking about for a while. So, yeah, he ended up at number 2, and I just like his speed, his versatility. Maybe he could play safety. It's not known yet. We'll see. But yeah, I had to go with him number 2.
What overall was that?
That was no trades in this one. That was our 59. Yeah. And he's not always there, so I felt like it was a good pick at our number 2 pick at 59.
Okay. Yeah, we know how much you have like a man crush on Simpson.
Sorry. Sorry.
Well, and that's fine. We all have our respective man crushes in this draft, I think. And
Absolutely.
for mine, I did draft him with that 36 pick, and that's Jack Campbell.
Right.
And even at 36, I think there's a possibility that the Bills could go further back and still get him. I've seen mock drafts where he's going in the first round. I've seen some where he's going in the late second. So it kind of depends on how things fall as far as that goes. And need better competition for Quisenberry. He's basically going to be probably our, I don't know, maybe the swing tackle likely.
Not if I have it my way.
I was going to say I have some people getting drafted here in my mock, and I'm sure you guys do too. I think could provide that competition for Quisenberry. Casey, round 2, what'd you got?
My competition for David Questenberry is none other than Syracuse legend Matthew Bergeron.
All right.
Knew
that was coming.
Hey, the guy's an absolute monster. I
like him.
He played so well he was a part of a team that got Syracuse all the way up to number 15 in the country, and it was because of their offense. And it was mainly because of that offensive line being able to open up the holes for Sean Tucker and Garrett Schrader to take off and run, because Schrader doesn't know how to throw the ball and just holds on to it the whole time. But I digress. That's my second round pick.
So did you have more than one second round pick or no?
No, I have 2/3.
Mike, how about you? Did you have more than one second round pick?
Nope.
You didn't trade, so no.
No, mine is straight up, no trades. Yep. Okay,
so I did have a second round pick at number 69, and I went with the center Luke Whippler from Ohio State.
I like it.
I do think that the Bills are going to need to do something. They need to address the potential loss of Mitch Morse, whether that's due to concussion, injury, retirement, whatever the case might be. And I mean, worst case, maybe Whippler can move over to guard in the meantime. Maybe he outplays Bates, Connor, or whoever, right? So I think that gives some competition in the interior offensive line that the Bills definitely need. Roy's question here, I think, well, you just put it up when I took it down. Bergeron be a guard if needed.
Not really.
Go ahead.
No, he's more projected. He's more projected to be a swing tackle or a right tackle in the NFL. I know he played left tackle a bit in college, but I think he would be better suited on the right side, or like I said, just as that sixth offensive lineman. But guard, he's just a little too big.
Yeah, that's pretty much the scouting reports that I've been seeing on him as well. He's basically a tackle, exclusively. So moving on to the third round, I will go ahead and start with this one. This time I've got 2 third-round picks in this one, and this is where I've got Bergeron. Pick number 64 at the top of the third round. So we're on the same board or same page with that. And so I've got back-to-back offensive linemen, Whippler and Bergeron, to help beef up the Bills' offensive line. Add some competition there. Just in case things don't work out with Spencer Brown, we've got somebody who could potentially step into that spot.
Absolutely. Michael?
We're talking round 3 here, huh? Let's see. I gotta find it. I changed the screen now. Oh, round 3. Round 3, another guy I've been talking about for a while. Roschon Johnson, running back from Texas.
Okay. Nice.
Yep. I picked him up. I felt like it was a good pickup round 3. I think I might have had him later in one other one. Let me see here.
I feel like he's been climbing up the draft boards a little bit though in the last week or so.
I had him going round 2, 3, or 4. He ended up going round 3 in this one. So right in the middle. But a guy I've been watching for a while. Big, strong running back, catch the ball too.
Yeah, I like that. But I know, Casey, you've said this. You do believe that the Bills will draft a running back in this one.
I wonder who he's got in mind.
I just don't know that's going to be in the third or fourth round. But Casey, who you got in the third?
So I have 2 third-round picks as well, and Adrian, we have 6 picks so far, unless we trade back. But currently, we only have 6 picks. And Roy, to answer your question, I have the Wake Forest wide receiver, A.T. Perry. I feel like Gabe Davis was meant to be brought in to be the big body receiver, and he may have put on that muscle, but you can't teach height. And A.T. Perry's a little bit taller of a guy. I mean, he's quick. He can win downfield. I think he could not take over Gabe's spot this year, but if Gabe plays very well and earns a high-paying contract that we just are not able to afford, then we have Gabe's replacement waiting. You know, just how we had Gabe waiting for Emmanuel Sanders in case he didn't work out after 1 year, like it didn't. So I think this is a good futures pick.
What's the size on Perry? The highest weight? Do you
6'3". 6'3", I want to say like 210.
Okay.
I got it right here.
Because this draft is loaded with Smurfs, and I don't want a Smurf on this team.
No, A.T. Perry is 6'5", 205, and runs 4.47.
Well, excusez-moi.
6'5"?
That's
what
boy.
I am at, yeah.
That's tall, but 205 is a little.
He is of the tallest, I think, of the,
He could definitely. I mean, he needs to put on a little bit of weight. A 205 at 6'5", that's kind of scrawny.
Yeah, but I mean, if guys like Devontae Smith can be 170 pounds and play in this league, I understand he's not as tall, but I mean, he's not that skinny. You know, A.T. Perry isn't as skinny as Devontae Smith. But it's also the NFL. You know, they're going to come in this first year and automatically put on 10 pounds of muscle.
That's likely, yeah. So talking about the wide receivers, my third round pick number 91, turned out to be Marvin Mims from Oklahoma. So we're all kind of on board with the wide receivers in the same spot, almost. Mike decided to go running back in that spot. Mike, did you pick any wide receivers? I
did. There was a few ones where I tried to pick a receiver high, but this one in particular, it happened a few times to me. I lost sight of the receivers. I just couldn't be happy with one, and I ended up picking one in round 5.
Who?
So not as early as I wanted. Well, can we wait till round 5, or do you want to know now?
Okay, fine. We'll wait. All right. We'll go to round 4.
I got another third round pick.
Oh, okay.
Isaiah McGuire, defensive end out of Missouri. I think we got to. I mean, Boogie Basham hasn't necessarily worked out yet this year. Hasn't worked out yet. AJ Epinesa, I'm a fan of, but do we rely on those two guys and just Groot to be able to hold down the fort till Vaughn gets back? I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to invest one more defensive end and like one more asset into that defensive end group.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because one of the he could be a late 2 or early round 3 when we were talking about trading. I wanted to bring up Nick Herbig out of Wisconsin, defensive end or outside linebacker. He's 6'2", 228. But he's someone that I could have picked up earlier.
See, that's just a little thing for me.
Yeah, he might be. He could put on a little more, but I just had to throw that out there.
Well, and Matt Milano's already considered it undersized for his position, and I don't know that we want 2 guys like that. We already struggle sometimes with stopping the run.
True.
And so, I think we need some beef at the other linebacker spot, which for me is why Campbell. I grabbed Campbell. Yeah, because he's physically the closest to what we have with Edmonds at 6'5", 250, and he's not as fast as Edmonds, but he can still cover sideline to sideline. He's still pretty, decent in coverage.
All right.
So
I think that's why I keep picking the smaller, faster guys, because I'm worried about the pass coverage.
Let's make it clear: not many humans on this earth are as fast as Jermaine Edmonds when it comes to defense.
At his size, yeah.
So
I think I'm still hurting about missing him.
I can give Campbell a little break on that one.
So talking about wide receivers and needing more speed there, I agree. I would love to have more speed there. And I do not recall what Marvin Mims' 40 time is. Maybe Mike, you can look that up because
Mims.
Yeah. Because I like him. I like the production. I like him at the 91st pick.
Yeah, he's real fast. I got him at 4.38.
Okay. So there's your speed. Yeah.
5'11", 184.
a little on the smaller side.
He's
but
dig size.
yeah.
Which he holds his own.
Well,
Hey.
yeah, he's all right.
Playing
Yeah.
the Big 12.
Are we talking about Diggs holding his own or Mims?
Well, if we had him, they both would.
Okay. So
Round
can we move to
4?
the fourth round now?
Yes, we made.
Is that okay, Casey?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
we're
sorry. I didn't want to leave my whole mock out.
good. All right, Mike, who you got in the fourth round?
I got in the 4th round because I couldn't pick anyone else, and I couldn't get away from this guy. And it's just a name that just has been kept coming up for me, and it's City So, the guard out of Eastern Michigan.
Gotcha. Okay. Now he's working the interior help. I like it.
Yeah. Try to get it balanced, But he was
not grumpy.
more times than not. He was in the past couple days when I've been trying to get this mock done. He's been my 4th round pick more than anyone else. So
Roy's comparison here, Mims to John Brown, it's a really good comparison. I like that.
now
a lot.
I can see it.
I wish I could have found a wide receiver. Like I said, I went wide receiver round 5. If I don't know, I couldn't find it. Round 4, there wasn't one that I thought was worth the round 4 pick with what I had. So that's what ended up happening.
Well, Adrian likes your pick.
All right.
You got kudos right there.
Uh-oh.
Hey, if I can get one right, I'll be stoked.
There you go. Okay, so what you got in the 4th round?
Is he freezing up a little?
Hold on, please.
Yeah, he's freezing up. All right, I'll go ahead and go with my 4th round while we wait to see if he can get back online. So the 4th round, pick number 130. Which, by the way, I traded previously and picked up the 61st, 64, and 218 from Chicago. But at the 130 pick, I picked up defensive interior Jacqueline Roy. He's somebody to come in there. He's provided some size, and we don't have any defensive tackles on their contract after next year.
Right.
So I felt like that was definitely a direction we needed to go in and start kind of building that up for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did go inside round 6. But then again, I had some other drafts where I went inside a lot earlier than that.
Casey may have to excuse himself and then return because he is still frozen. Just a
All right.
frozen picture there. So what's going? Do you have any more 4th round picks?
Nope. I that's all that straight up this one. No trade. So yep, City So good. At least I got one fan likes the pick, so we'll go with that. But now we're gonna have to wait around for Case to do round 4. You wanna go to round 5? And,
we'll go to round 5 and then he can catch up.
Round 5 and then we'll go back to him and catch up. So
what do you got for round 5?
Round 5, and here we go because I switched screens again. Oh yeah, Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia.
Nice.
6'3", 224. I mean, we were just talking about A.T. Perry, 205. He's just a couple inches shorter than Perry, but runs a little bit faster at 4.38. I have Matt, and nope, I don't have his vertical here, but yeah, A.T. Perry or Bryce Ford Wheaton, player. He was also this one worked out really well for me because, like I said, I got a few guys in here that it all kind of came together on this one for me, and I ended up getting some players that I've been looking at for a while, and even the ones I'm not crazy about that I wish I had a receiver higher, like City So, he might work out to be a pretty good player. So yeah, overall so far, and like even though getting a receiver later, I liked him from early on. So yeah, round 5, Ford Wheaton.
I like Ford Wheaton a lot. I
know Casey like that too. When early on I had picked him. He had some good words to say about that.
Yeah. If we got him, especially in the 5th round, I'd be pretty pumped for that one.
Yeah.
My 5th rounder, I went safety here. It's another area that I think the Bills need to address long term. Not necessarily now because I think we're obviously we're set for this coming season. But I've got Anthony Johnson Jr., safety out of Iowa State. One of the things I liked about him is he is a former corner who transitioned to the safety spot. So he's somebody that brings a little versatility, can play multiple roles, and he's got some coverage skills as well. So that's where I went. Welcome back, Casey.
Yeah, hey.
Sorry, boys. My entire computer crashed. Sorry, everyone. We're back.
It's okay. I'm
You're
gonna
back
go
on
back
bottom
to,
now.
I'm going to go back to Roy Collins' comment here. Casey frozen in fear like the Patriots. I like it. I like it.
That's funny.
That's
That's
a good
funny.
one.
So Ronnie and I, we went and did round 5, but we're gonna have to come back and do round 4 with you.
All right, what you got, Casey? Round 4 and 5.
Round 4, I took the center out of Michigan, Alusigan Oluwatimi. And then round 5, I took my boy Sean Tucker.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
No.
I told you guys every mock I do will always have him in here. I will never give up.
Yeah,
This man is going to make some NFL teams so incredibly happy.
yeah. And I know now I know why you
Bills.
picked this one, because you got 2 Q's players in there, and there's
I-
no way you're not gonna pick that mock.
I had that in 4 of them.
Did you?
give me some numbers on Sean Tucker, like size, speed, and all of that.
Let's see. Bring it up here.
Ran a
I don't know, you got it,
4.34.
4.34.
Ran a 4.34 40. He had a 30. Yeah, he had a 30-inch vertical. He's like
I don't have him written down.
I don't know. I want to say like 5'9", 5'10".
I thought he was.
210.
I thought he was. He's not.
Let me
6
look
foot,
him
then,
up
is
for
he?
you, Top Ron.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right as far as the height.
5'10", 205.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember we talking about him
He's
before, kind of
5'10",
being compared to
205.
that Thurman Thomas size. 4.3 speed, though, I don't recall that. I'm going to have to.
I
fact check that
promise
one.
you.
All
I'm
right,
looking
so
right
okay,
now.
let me ask you this then: if they do draft him, Sean Tucker, who are you kicking out of the
Damian
running back
Harris.
room?
Damian Harris.
Already? You're not even going to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
No. Damian Harris.
He's a Patriot.
Or he's a
That's
Patriot.
what
But then there goes
Or
your size. Some size.
Or we do what we did last year and run 4 running backs on the roster. Only this time, one of them can actually be active because they can. All 4 of them can actually play offense.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
Tywan Jones couldn't. Tywan Jones was always active last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand his special teams, what he means to that unit, but man, it just almost felt like a wasted roster spot to me. Like, and
It
he's
would.
not coming back this year,
It 100% would.
so
I think it would
my-
be. I mean, we would have 4 active and then 3 active on game day.
Okay, so who's inactive?
That's the way like they handled Zach Moss being active and inactive. Just if the game plan
I know
called
that,
for it
but-
that day, are we gonna play more heavy run? Like, are we gonna play more run silent time, run Damian Harris, or are we gonna be passing it a little bit more? That's it, Sean Tucker, or you just just keep Sean Tucker inactive all year, and then he's the Hines replacement.
Yeah, I like Sean Tucker. What games I did watch of him, I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he could have a successful career in the NFL. I just don't know if that fits with the Bills because of what they currently have already.
It does
Personally, I think they probably go running back later or even an undrafted guy just to bring in some bodies. But I think they're committed to Damian Harris, and I like Harris. I think he's a good running back. So I'm going to go back up a little bit here before we get to your 5th rounder, because my 5th rounder was Anthony Johnson, safety out of Iowa State. And Scott here, wonder what JL Skinner goes. He, most of the marks I've seen, is around 5th round on those. But I just think Anthony Johnson is more, I don't know. I just think he's a better option. I think he has better traits overall. I love Skinner and his aggressiveness and how, like I said before, he reminds me of DeMar Hamlin and how he just gets in there and makes the plays and is aggressive with his tackles. But again, Anthony Johnson, I think, just has the better traits overall and the versatility to play multiple spots. Okay, so who do you got in your 5th round?
It was Sean Tucker.
Oh, that was your 5th.
That was your 5th?
Yeah.
That's right. Your fourth
Yeah,
was
and
the
I do
center.
not have a sixth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got to
So
fill
my
in Casey.
sixth.
I do not. Have a
Well, I
sixth.
want to fill in Casey on my fifth, and that was Bryce Ford Wheaton, who I
Okay.
think you approve of.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. All right, sixth round. I did go wide receiver again here with Grant DeBose from Charlotte, the Charlotte 49ers. I didn't really know a whole heck of a lot about him, so I
Rolls
just started doing some digging on him. He had 13 contested catches a season ago, the 27th best among all receivers with at least 50 targets. And he wasn't extremely tall. I think he was, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was like 5'11". So, we're talking sixth round here. Let's grab a wide receiver, see what happens. He's not afraid to go up there and make the catches and battle for it. So that's where I went. So that's my second wide receiver in this draft. Sixth round. Who did you go with, Mike?
Sixth round, I finally picked a defensive lineman. And I kind of wish I didn't wait this long. But I went with a guy, Jonah Tavai out of San Diego State.
Okay.
Someone newly discovered, someone who I haven't mocked before. But he just seemed like he might be able to fit in there. He seems maybe similar to some guys we've had before. He's what's his size here? He's not the biggest guy. Maybe a little more versatility there. But yeah, not the big huge guy that's going to stand in the hole, but maybe someone that can move around a little bit, make something happen on the defensive line.
Nice. So Casey, do you have a sixth? Is he frozen again?
I think he is.
Which is funny because Scott just said, "All right, guys, Casey, don't freeze too much."
He jinxed him. I think Scott's messing with us.
He is. All right, so six. Did you have any more sixths, or that was it, right?
Nope, that's it. No trades, straight up, and that was it. Finally got my defensive lineman. So well balanced. They might be a little out of order than what I was anticipating at first, but I did try to touch all bases, and I think for when they were drafted, I think I did pretty decent.
Yeah, I think if that's the haul the Bills get, I'd be all right with that. So I did have a seventh round that I acquired from the Bears in an earlier trade. So I went, and I'm probably going to, I don't know if I'm saying this right or not, but it's either Ochan or Ochan, Ochaun, Mathis. He's an edge rusher out of Nebraska.
Okay.
He's 4-year starter. Every year that he started, he had at least 30 pressures. He didn't produce a lot of sacks, only 18 career sacks out of 129 pressures. So that's a little bit of an issue there. But I liked him this late in the draft. He had some good size and definitely some production there, minus maybe, like I said, some of those sacks. Hopefully Casey will get back in here in a little bit. He once again froze up, bounced. So we'll see what I'm sitting here trying to watch the draft.
I know too. The clock's ticking. We got about 7.5 minutes left.
And the Panthers still have not selected yet, so we're waiting on that. Yes, this is a reminder. Richard Rush.
Yes,
says,
I wanted to throw that up.
Button.
Thank you, Richard.
Please do that. Hit the like, share, subscribe to the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. Mike, let's jump into this. So some of the predictions, we kind of already went through our mock drafts, but what do you realistically going to predict in this one? Do we trade up? Do we trade back? Do they stay pat? What do you think?
Tonight. I feel like it's going to come down. I don't know. We're going to be waiting around. We're going to be waiting around, and another team is going to want that pick, and I feel like we're going to trade back.
I think so.
For some reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's a simple prediction, but I agree. I think they move back.
Whether that means we pick tonight or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we move back 2 picks, or do we move back 10 picks? I don't know. Maybe just a couple picks. So
we've been talking all day or all night and in the past shows about the talent level between 24, 25, all the way through into the second round being very similar. There's not a whole lot of drop off. And with only having 6 draft picks, I just don't see Brandon Beane giving up any more picks to move up. And that's basically what would have to happen, I believe. Maybe they could do it with just a player or two, but I doubt it.
Right.
I think they would have to include some draft picks, and I don't see Brandon Beane giving up any more draft picks in this one. In fact, like I said, if anything, he would want to grab some more.
Now, here's the thing. In my mock where I was trade happy, I kept our first pick and I ended up getting Quentin Johnson.
Okay.
So that's another. I'm going to go, if he's there at 27, we take him.
And I think they will. I think he's, I don't know what it is. It's this whole draft has been weird. Like the draft boards, all the mocks, like players have been like all over the place. Jackson Smith and Jigba at the beginning of all of this back in February, he was considered, late first, second round guy. Guys like Matthew Bergeron kind of bounced around a lot. It's crazy how much these guys have fluctuated on all of these draft boards. That's why okay, let me ask you guys. I've been thinking about this today, right? For the last 2 months, it's been constant draft news. It's been constant rumors, per report this, per my sources say this and that. I'm starting to wonder if some of this isn't just made up. Like the media and the NFL just throwing random crap out there just to get people thinking and excited about the draft when none of it's true. There are no sources saying that the Bills are interested in DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean? Because I don't remember a time where the draft was so like hyped. It's just crazy.
Yeah, everyone wants to predict the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants to be right. That's all it really is at this point.
But we were talking about predictions for tonight, and so I said either we're gonna trade back, but if we're gonna sit, and I said if Quentin Johnson's available, at 27, we're taking him. Realistically,
what's your prediction, Casey?
My prediction is realistically we don't pick at 27.
Yeah, that's my first thought.
We're gonna go either way. I've felt like this since the Bills. I mean, it got good. We've been drafting in this area. 20 picks, like 25 to 29 picks, 30 are to me is kind of like a dead zone because you're now praying one of those top guys falls down to you, or you're going to be reaching for a guy that everybody's going to start to question. Why did you reach if instead of trade back for somebody that you could have got early second round? So in my opinion, it's just either go get your guy. If you love Jackson Smith and Jigba that much, or Darnell Wright, or Michael Mayer, or whoever, just go get your guy as long as you're not selling the farm. And if everybody just starts flying off the board and you're like, there's just nothing here that's worthwhile, that's worth the amount of money we'll be paying over the next probably 5 years, then I said earlier, maybe currently make that deal and they come back into the first round. We get Hop and 34, or we fall back and we fall back to 38 or something like that, and we get Jack Campbell for even cheaper now. Just something. My prediction is we don't pick at 27.
Nice.
I think we're all on consensus on that one. We got about 10 more minutes here. The Panthers pick is in, but they haven't announced it yet. Likely Bryce Young, but I'm a little surprised it took them almost a full 10 minutes to make that decision.
I think that's like a rule for ESPN.
Stretch it out. There's been some news around the NFL, of course. We all know about Lamar Jackson finally getting that deal today. And I'm happy for Lamar Jackson. I think 180 million guaranteed.
185.
185. It's a crazy amount. I can't imagine. So Lamar Jackson, OBJ going to be paired up for 2023. The news I really want to talk about though is this. I don't know. There's just some guy. I can't remember his name.
He's kind of old.
Jets. He's kind of old. Yeah, he's like a 40-year-old dude.
Old, grumpy, and loves drugs.
Yeah. Hey Casey, I don't want to forget this though. But who was your round 6? We just got to get that in quick.
I did not have a round 6.
Oh, you didn't have a 6. Okay,
my
never
round
mind.
7 was
Oh.
DJ Dale, another
Okay.
nose, more of like a nose 1 tech out of Alabama.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I didn't want us to leave that out. I just had to cut it there. Sorry, guys.
Back to the hippie.
Back to the hippie.
Yeah, the guy who, Bryce Young is the pick.
Yes, it is.
Oh, there he is. All right.
Aaron
Roger's got personality. I kind of, I like that.
Yeah, I love
Rodgers
people
loves
that-
himself,
But I don't like, he's the enemy now. He's the Jets. So
yeah. So
he and the Jets were made for each other.
yeah.
Who do you think that basically essentially closes the gap between the Bills and the Jets? Like, are you legitimately concerned going into the season that we might actually not win the division?
No, but I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, if that makes sense. I still expect to? Yes, but if we don't, then I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I never saw that coming. There's a Hall of Fame quarterback coming to our division. Tua's only going to get, we presume, better unless he gets concussed again, which at that point, dude, please retire for the NFL just for your own health. And they added Jalen Ramsey. I mean, the Dolphins got better. The only team that didn't get better is the Patriots.
I think Patriots fans would argue that. I mean, they did get some free agent guys, but yeah.
They got Juju to go with a bag of milk. I don't to me that's not a big, and he's not
moving any needles, that's for
no
sure.
not at all. And comparing
and let's be honest, he might be the best receiver they have. So
by far.
In that regards, they did get better, but
I don't know. Yes, they got better. Ooh, I guess this is how they felt when we were getting better the last 17 years.
Yeah.
Does it close the gap? Yes. Am I worried? No, because we have Josh Allen.
Casey, we lost to this Jets team this past season.
Okay, and we lost to the.
And now they have Rodgers.
And we lost to the 3-13 Jaguars the season before. What do you want?
I know, right?
What do you think, Mike? Are you legitimately concerned? Like, oh crap, we're no longer the best team in the division. Like, do you guys look at the Jets or the Dolphins and say they are better than us? Period. Or is it
no way? But I mean, last year, I felt like we should have had no. I mean, we all felt like we should have had no problem sweeping the Jets. But this year coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost one game to them.
Absolutely.
I'm worried. I worry less about the Dolphins.
I expect it to be a lot. I expect 4-2 to be that's gonna whoever's gonna win the AFC East the next. I don't know. We'll say 3 years. Give Rodgers 3 years here. If you go 4-2 in your division, then you're probably gonna win. 5-1, you're definitely gonna win. But I think the days of sweeping the AFC East are probably over for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
See, and I'm looking at this I need to see the Jets on the field before I can say definitively. I mean, okay, they're going to be better, obviously, because you can't get much worse than Zach Wilson. I think any of the three of us could play quarterback in place of Zach Wilson and probably be better. But I want, he's 40 years old, and he didn't do anything last year that made me think that, oh, yeah, he's not regressing at all. I know the weapons weren't the same. I know there was no Devontae Adams. I get that.
But would you argue that the weapons he's getting are better than what he had?
That last year?
Yeah.
Well, one's the same, right?
Lazard, yeah.
Yeah.
One is the same. And
so
Garrett Wilson obviously is
Garrett Wilson is an improvement. But then you have the same in Alan Lazard. Their tight end, kind of whatever. I mean, they have CJ Uzama. Yeah, that's a wash. They have Corey Davis. I mean, that doesn't do a thing for me. They signed Mecole Hardman.
I'm not even that impressed with Hardman, honestly. Mecole Hardman didn't do a whole lot on the field with Patrick Mahomes when he was with the Chiefs. Why is it going to be any different with Aaron Rodgers? To me, the only upgrade really is Wilson. Yeah, I know Bryce Young is good. I know Michael, what's the running back? I don't remember the other running back, but
I don't have a.
you had the
a lot
same
of them
thing in
written
Green Bay though with Aaron Jones
AJ Dillon.
and AJ Dillon. So again, that's a wash. The only change really is Garrett Wilson. I think Casey is freezing again, or maybe Mike is. One of y'all.
down. I'm still moving.
Okay.
I think.
I'm trying hard not. I'm trying hard not to, boys. But I think it's a
No, it's
losing
all good.
battle.
You're doing good. We're doing good.
We're gonna probably close this out here. Anywho, I do want to talk a little bit more about the Aaron Rodgers. Well, the AFC East as a whole next week, all the draft will be done. We'll have all the picks in, right? And we'll have an idea of what these teams are going to look like for 2023. Finally, I know that there's like 70, 80 plus players probably going to be on the roster. We all know most of those will get cut. So we'll have to we'll talk about that next week and who won the draft. We'll give out draft grades. We'll do all of that draft stuff. But I want to start focusing more on the division and the Bills competition. And CJ Stroud is the pick for the Houston Texans.
You ruined it for me.
They ruined it. There he is.
All the
I
talk,
told you.
all the rumors, and it's CJ Stroud.
Jackson Smith and Jigba
right.
going 12. Book it.
Probably. All right. We are going to get out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy the draft. I know I'll be sitting here watching the draft and doing a lot of tweeting in anticipation for the Bills selection. And until next week, Bills Mafia, the MafiaCast, we're out. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.